What if instead of spawning onto a normal vanilla Minecraft world, you spawned here? Or here? 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 Or even here? Imagine the next time you start a Minecraft world, you spawn into a familiar and yet diverse world with new sights to see, tougher obstacles to overcome, and no clue how difficult it could become. In this video, I'm spending 24 hours in a Terralith Minecraft world. And if you don't know what Terralith is, basically it's a data pack that changes how biomes and terrain form, creating an entirely new looking world without adding a single new block. That's right, everything we see today could be done in vanilla Minecraft. My goals are to gear up, defeat the Ender Dragon, set up a new home, and explore as much as we can before the 24 hours is over. If you're new here, please subscribe, and if you want to see more from this series, remember to press like if you enjoy this video. It's day 0 in this world and hour 1 of the challenge. While I know very little about Terralith, I know that there are sometimes upgraded villages and we have one here, so I'll use this as a base of operations for now. And yes, those floating islands are crazy, but we'll get there. Let's get into this. Day 0 is a little bit weird. I have to learn to navigate a messy biome, which is somewhere between a savanna and a jungle, and I don't want to fall into a cave before I even punch a tree. I saw the village up above me and I want to head toward that. Because I only have 24 hours, I'm not going to mess around too much at the start. I want rockets and wings so we can fly around and see the world, and I need to beat the dragon soon, although I won't speedrun it. I made my way to the village and we can finally punch a tree stump or whatever these small bushes are. Because Terralith is essentially vanilla Minecraft, most of the early game will feel somewhat familiar. Raiding a village, especially this upgraded one, should be a pretty good place to start. This is an interesting little butcher shop that I found, and checking upstairs I grabbed my first food in the world. It's only a little wheat and raw rabbit, but it's a start. I also nabbed their crafting table and then found some more meat and some berries, carrots and more mutton in another room, and then I was out of there. A small castle opened in front of me and I looked around town a bit more to see all the buildings. After permanently borrowing a few local goods, I entered the castle for the first time. And this place is a bit of a mess. There are trees and shrubs everywhere, and it's hard to move around. It's dangerous with creepers and more about to lurk in the tall grasses at night as well. The local blacksmith let me borrow some obsidian and iron as well as a few emeralds. That was kind of him.
Surely I won't lock him up in permanent servitude soon.
You heard nothing? Inside the castle I found this villager who looks free, but he's actually trapped in this room. At least he has cake. Just above him is the room that I made my home for the next 23 plus hours. From here I crafted a shield. It's not the first usual iron tool, I guess. A full set of stone tools was just behind that, and the towers on each corner of the castle were holding a bow, some sticks, and some arrows. As it got later in the day, I ventured back outside and remembered what bad shape this town was in. I bet I could have found a village in a better biome to start with. The 2 lower houses are gigantic, but mostly empty. I probably should have lived in one of these. Getting around town was always scary as it opened up into caves and ravines everywhere, and mobs would either wander out or there was a chance I was going to fall in. I also found the town's only toilet. Ew. Night set on day 0 and I'm still exploring, so I'll sleep here. Nothing like the sound of zombies groaning to lull you to sleep. And where there's zombies there may be creepers, so I left and took a good look at the town. In addition to Terralith, Incendium, and Nullscape, which are the biome generation data packs for the overworld, Nether, and End, I'm also using a minimap so we can easily spot really cool looking biomes and check those out. Also, my goal isn't just to survive. I have a hardcore series, and if you want to watch me be a tryhard to survive, you can. But more importantly today, I want to show off how cool Terralith is and not absolutely focus on never dying to anything ever. Day 1 through 5 begins our adventure. Cleaning up this village and castle area had to be a priority. It's far too dangerous and kinda ugly to look at, so I started dumping water all over town. I found an axolotl and a fisherman's barrel, and while I didn't name it, we could if you want. This is what we can see on the map. Our village is right on a pretty good sized ocean. There's a huge mountain nearby that looks a bit volcanic, and what looks like a stony peaks behind that. Those islands you see in the ocean are the floating ones way up in the sky. You can't tell elevation at all on this map, but we definitely have a lot to explore. Terralith biomes are all made from existing vanilla blocks, as I mentioned. That made this biome really interesting to see when we get up closer. It's made from basalt and blackstone, gravel, and a recolored grass. It's also home to one of the rarest blocks in vanilla Minecraft, deep slate coal ore. While ultra rare in vanilla, this block was everywhere in Terralith. One of my favorite things about Terralith was how you could sometimes find and use blocks that you'd never find in vanilla like this, but that some items were much harder to find, like blaze rods, but we'll get there. From the top of this mountain, I spotted the stony peaks. Quick, ask me what my favorite biome in Minecraft is. Another super common Terralith block that I'm not used to seeing in the wild is moss. It's such a great block to make biomes look more lush and green, and I'll definitely keep this in mind. Well, this variant of Stony Peaks has a lot of stone slabs and creates a nicer slope, but we all know why I'm here. It's mining montage time. That's our village back over there. I'm using complementary shaders, and while playing with shaders on is much harder, we get a lot of incredible scenes like this, so I think it's worth it. After getting all of my tools and armor situated, I decided to look from the highest peak I could reach to start day 3. With full gear, a stack of raw iron and coal, plus more, it was time to adventure a little and see more of the new world. I also practiced my blossoming MLG skills. Shout out to those who don't know I'm kidding. The ocean opens up a lot of new area for us, so I hopped in my boat and set sail. Sometimes the only thing I could see for miles were these large floating islands, and I do want to get up there soon to see what they're about. My first ocean level stop, however, was this shipwreck where I picked up a bit of iron, a couple of armor trims, and the treasure map which led me here for even more iron and this loot. The desert edge had tons of sugarcane, and I need that to be able to fly later, so I grabbed as much of that as my overflowing inventory could handle. One thing I really love about Terralith is how normal vanilla biomes are improved, like we saw with the Stony Peaks. This biome ahead of me is a simple savanna, but with better terrain variation and more interesting land to look at. The village I found here was my first vanilla village, and you know I'm changing this red bed out for an orange one, right? I didn't find much else worth stealing, so I decided to boat off a cliff and head back to the ocean. Sometimes when you're on a long ocean adventure, you have to leave things for later, like this pyramid, or this village. But some things can't be ignored, like a gigantic floating island appearing directly in the sky in front of you, hovering as if through magic. This thing is gigantic. Early on the morning of day 6, I was headed home and discovered this shipwreck. My inventory is completely full, but I had to check it out. A couple of new armor trims on one side and diamonds on the other was a decent reward, but seriously, I need to head home now. This is the floating island that you can see from spawn. The waterfall flowing off the side is a tempting access, but I don't know what's at the top. Could be overflowing with mobs, or there could be villages up there. Oh well, only one way to find out. I do realize I said I was headed home, but hey, this is on the way home, and it's cool. While the waterfall is a slow way up, it did give me time to panic about what could be at the top, which was actually a sunflower-filled jungle with cactus and all kinds of trees. I found jungle, acacia, and oak up here. Later we'll get wings and explore a bit more of the flying islands as they're not all the same, but for now it's really time to head home, and that's home over there. It does look kinda great from up here. It would be kind of awesome to build up the town a little and then permanently move to a floating castle in the sky that overlooks that old town. Oh well, what goes up must come down. I would have dove off the island, but if I hit a random Terralith lily pad and lost all this stuff, I would have cried and probably rage quit. Although I didn't make it inside the castle before I decided it was finally time to properly clean up the castle and village area and make it safer. After all that adventure and work, it was finally time to go back to my room and figure out what's next. I cooked up another stack of iron and took stock of my situation. It's the end of day 8, nearly 2 hours into the challenge. I haven't been super productive, but I had a great look around the world already at least. I'm not going to go farm building crazy in this world, but I think to make the most progress I need 2 farms that would help me very much. The first, of course, is an early game iron farm. I can use the iron to trade for emeralds and very easily afford a couple of books that will be critical later on, like mending and unbreaking. I don't want to get my elytra and not have those 2 books. Emeralds can keep me fed if I need to use golden carrots, and anyone who trades me iron will trade either diamond tools or diamond armor, and those are things I can definitely use. As my main goals are to get my wings so I can explore and also build a home, having resources just helps a lot in this limited time challenge. I'll just do the simplest little iron farm here, kill chamber on one side, villagers on the other. Let's go build a farm. Other than working with gravel along this shoreline, this is a very simple farm to build. And one quick bucket of lava later and it's basically good to go. Let's add that lava into the farm and grab the villagers we need. I told this guy the butcher shop is closed now and he ran to tell his friend what I had done. His friend saw me coming and slammed the door, but that didn't stop me from capturing one of them. And boy, weren't both fishermen surprised when I came back for them. Get in my boat. And you too. Soon I reunited the 3 friends for one last sunset in the village before showing them how I use boats to fly off of mountainsides. And then the ride down was a bit bumpy and nowhere near as dramatic as I had expected. That's 1. 2. 3. Spawn proofing and a zombie. If you watch my hardcore series, you know I have a little trauma associated with getting a zombie into this farm, so let's just say I'm glad this was a bit easier. And stay there. I'm always glad to see that first golem burning in the pit. This guy rounded up some friends, which was fine. I'm just gonna buy some stone pickaxes, pray for an iron trade, and that was easy. Time goes by kinda quickly in these challenges. At this point I've spent more than 10% of the time in the world and I need to keep things moving along. I quickly figured out that having 3 villagers in one room who think they can escape is a problem. On the other hand, maybe I didn't need to build an iron farm. I am so not dealing with you. Putting a lectern down here and then luring a villager into a bed above it proved a very simple way to sort one of them away from the rest and removing the artificial village they had formed under my bedroom. It also gave me a nice and very easy way to roll trades for this librarian. And so I rolled, and rolled, and rolled, and rolled, until I broke my axe. And then we rolled some more, but this guy wasn't giving me anything I wanted. Taking a break, I went to clear the iron farm and realized it wasn't working. I wonder why. With a bit more spawn proofing, it was working again, and I ensured that this time it always would. As night fell, this happened. Oh god, you're close. Whoa! Yeah, that was my cue to go visit my least favorite librarian again. Nope, 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 nope. Let's not talk about how many unsuccessful trades I attempted here. When I checked on the iron farm, I had a free pearl waiting for me, and that's a nice treat. The farm itself almost has a stack and a half of iron, so we're definitely cranking out emeralds now. My toolsmith liked the iron so much he offered me diamond tools, which I immediately took, along with a shovel. Whoops. Of course you offer me cheap mending when I can't afford it. I don't know why I was rolling there, I was hoping he'd get a paper trade. Needing more emeralds, I set up a blast furnace for the remaining villager. He could not only give me extra emeralds so I could lock in mending, but eventually he'd give me some diamond armor. Unfortunately, he had no trades that I could sell into, and as the sun rose, I knew this was going to end sadly. I looked at the mending trade one more time and tried to see if there's anything else I could do. By the time I went to get coal or something else to trade, my villagers had reset. I traded for emeralds, but it was too late. Mending for 12 was gone. Time was passing here, so after several trips to the iron farm, the armorer decided to sell me diamond armor, and after what felt like another 1,000 tries, this villager finally gave me protection 4 for just 28 emeralds. I sadly locked it in, still thinking about that mending. I'm closing in on about 4 hours into the world, and we haven't even thought about going to the dragon yet, so let's skip through a few things that happened. I dug a mine shaft for blocks and potential ores. I regularly gathered and traded iron. Then I went on an adventure to find new goodies. This village was literally at the end of a rainbow. And this desert village was more like a temple. I ransacked a pillager outpost because I'm the real bad guy in this world, although they had nothing I wanted, so I tooted my own horn and left. Then I rummaged through this acacia village, stealing tons of books and this lectern. I was searching a shipwreck when I saw this, first under the pouring rain, and then underneath this incredible full rainbow. The most perfect, huge, and tall mushroom island I've ever seen. Wow, do I wish I lived on this. I returned home from that adventure and found more iron than I could even bring back to the villagers, and my adventure did leave me feeling recharged and ready to get my wings and take on the dragon. My first problem was rockets, so I terraformed a nice area for a sugarcane farm. I then finished collecting diamond armor, and with my gold pants I was ready to head to the Nether. I had no clue how difficult the Nether was going to be. I decided to put the Nether portal opposite my tower so I wouldn't have to hear it. I'm not using my normal Vanilla Tweaks texture pack, as you've seen, so the portal sounds are much louder than normal for me. Pause, timeout. When I use complementary shaders in my other world, the Nether is way too bright and overdone, so just to be sure I could see any potential threats, I turned them off so I could enter the Nether. They'll come back quickly. Unpause. 4 advancements for going through the portal seemed like a great start, and at least my Nether portal wasn't over lava, but I'm pretty sure this is one of the most dangerous biomes in all of Terralith. At first, all I saw was a couple of skeletons. Feeling a bit safer, I turned the shaders back on so you guys could see this properly, and oh my god, this biome is gorgeous. And then, just a few steps from my portal, it began. I have a bow so I can handle a single ghast, even though it takes a few shots. But then that was followed by this skeleton trying to jump me from behind. And then his buddy jumped in. And after taking them on for a second, I thought maybe I should head back toward my portal. But then this happened. And this. That's 2 skellies, 3 ghasts, and then this skeleton jumped on me from above. As I was fighting him, I saw this huge structure and thought maybe I should regroup. And this was the way back to my portal to leave. Even watching this back, I don't know what to say, so I'll just let you watch. Yes, that's a lot of ghasts and another couple of skeletons, and no matter where I tried to hide, the chaos and carnage continued to batter me. The sound of artillery just raining down on me was too much, so I found a quiet place to reconsider how much I really wanted to make this video. This absolutely massive and beautiful structure actually kept me going. I want to see inside of this by the end of the video. What is it? Oh, apparently it's an illager refuge. I don't know. I safely dug my way back to the portal because there's no way I was going to be able to go through it with 5 ghasts spitting hellfire at me again. That was just a quick trip to the Nether and I've already had enough. Never have I been so happy to see a simple zombie horde. And this is a good time to remind you that everything in Terralith is already possible in vanilla. The whole biome we just saw, the way mobs spawned, the huge structure, it's all just rearranged vanilla, and to be honest, I hope we see a lot of people starting new worlds on Terralith in the future. It's really fun despite scaring me back to the overworld in just minutes. And yes, I'm already back in the Nether. Mama didn't raise no baby. Don't mind that I just jumped out of my skin at the first sound of a ghast. Forget this, I'm digging tunnels where I want to go. Mama also didn't raise no idiot. I started getting advancements for biomes, so I looked on the map, and we're definitely escaping the quartz flats into the ash barren. There's something called a toxic heap way over here. I dug a few tunnels but didn't really find anything, so I made a safe little box around the Nether portal. I'll return to the Nether on day 27 and dig a tunnel to Y24. It feels impossible, but my goal is to dig all the way over to the warped forest so I can get some ender pearls. This quartz biome is huge and all around me. As we got closer, I was able to see that not only could I get pearls without a cleric here, but there's a fortress in the warped forest, and that could solve both problems at the same time. Eventually I broke through to the surface and into the Nether again. Warped forests are pretty safe in general, and this was a flat, mostly solid, and a good place to work. On day 31, I came home to find that my boat trap worked. I had dropped a boat here and left it. 2 villagers managed their way in but couldn't get back out, and now we have the makings of a simple breeder. I was hopeful that making one a farmer would work out, but they didn't really care to manage the crops very well during the rest of this challenge. Instead, I would manually harvest this and just leave the crops behind each time. And with ender pearls sourced and blaze rods on the way, it was time to think about the dragon for real. I know I want to at least get some gunpowder to end raid, so my next step was a very early game and simple bowtie creeper farm. Fish will get me cats, although I had to travel to multiple villages, and over several cliffs to get them tamed. Ow. Love me, you stupid— oh, I mean we're best friends. Yay! Ooh, I found a second one. The chase is on. Why do I jump off of ledges without looking? I only have 1 fish left, but gotcha. Yeah, you know what time it is. Let's build a farm. Between the breeder, pearl hunting, cat finding, farm building, and daily trades, chores, and the rest, we're now about 45 days into this and just over 10 hours played in the world. But the gunpowder farm is done and working. I didn't expect the dragon to happen after 10 hours, but here we are. Multiple farms are done and the nether's a bit rough, so I'm back and we're doing it this time. I'm using the map to dig straight to the fortress and we'll get the blaze rods and move on. Once again, breaking through to the surface was fairly painless and I popped out in the exact right spot. It's just behind the fortress itself. A blaze greeted us along with a wither skeleton friend of his. What I didn't know was how perfectly we had arrived at the blaze spawner as well. Immediately it was chaotic, but blaze spawners never get easier if you wait for them, so knowing this and knowing it could end badly, I went in. Here's my first blaze rod. And these 2 are my last. Grabbing a few ender pearls on the way out felt like a safe play as well. Then it was back to villagers for the mini breeder in order to roll mending and unbreaking. Thankfully, these villagers cooperated a lot easier than the ones inside and gave me the books I needed and a reasonable number of rerolls. It's now, what is it? It's day 52, and away we go. We're a little under halfway through our time in Terralith, and we're off to do the dragon things now. And the pearl broke. Normally this would feel slow to me, but a breeder, an iron farm, creeper farm, and all the books I want, a rough nether, that all makes it perfectly acceptable to me. It feels like we should throw again when we're about 2,000 blocks out, so I'm going to put a marker in that general direction and we can follow that. And this takes us exactly halfway through our 24 hours. We'd best hurry now. This should be around my throw spot. Oh, we've already passed it. Well, I'm 2 for 2 on breaks now. That's great. Come on, man. And the third eye went straight into the ground. Okay, awesome. We're here. Pop back up for me, please. There it is. Didn't take long to get down here, and now we've broken into the stronghold. And stronghold navigation wasn't that hard, so here we are. The portal has a 3-eye, which are all on one side. That was pretty rare, but anyway, let's fill it in. Let's get situated. First, I want to set spawn here. We don't know what we're spawning into. We can get our inventory sorted, and you can see what I'm bringing into the dragon fight as well. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this end island's a mess, but this is what I expected. This will certainly make the dragon fight harder than it usually is, but spawn isn't too bad. The island is a little crazy. I love how Terralith makes vanilla Minecraft much more challenging, and I've needed this challenge, but I do have to be careful. One thing that makes this intense is that there could be holes in the ground that go straight to the void. I have no backup gear, so even though it's not hardcore, if I die, we're losing a lot of time. I also have no idea what level this fountain is at compared to the island. Can the dragon go below the fountain here to attack me? I don't know, but it's possible, I guess. The fountain is indeed quite buried. It's possible the dragon will come straight at me at some point. The first perch is also pretty scary. I don't know what the rules are and anything could happen. I mainly waited to see what the dragon would do, with my plan being that I could pearl out of trouble if necessary. I got below her that time, but it was quite close. Towers were pretty much towers with one hard to reach one, but the island itself was just way harder to get around and do simple things. This below the horizon perch scared the crap out of me. First of all, it was hard to see the dragon. Second, I thought I was jumping into the void and I threw the most unnecessary pearl of my life. That's not embarrassing. Once I got the hang of the terrain, this became more of a shooting range. I also had to deal with one more crystal on a tall pillar that I just didn't have a good angle on no matter where I was on the island. When I still missed it, the dragon breath took me off my temporary pillar. It's a good thing Steve doesn't have ankles. I made one more bold run and saw she was perching. Knowing I still had 2 pearls, I worked fast. With the last crystal down and the dragon about to destroy most of this temporary pillar, I took a chance to get behind her and down safely. She did not appreciate my netherrack decor. She has the tiniest sliver of health left. We're 1 shot away. That was the shot. Getting to our new gateway is just a little bit treacherous. Don't die here, Red. This would be a very bad time to die. Thankfully, I stayed safe and we're on our way to the outer end. What is this gonna be like? Okay, there's floating islands. I see some light over there. Let's go toward the interesting stuff. Okay, buddy. Do you see how high that is? I'm on Y59 and that ship is way up above me. That's gonna be fun to get to. I have no idea how I'm meant to get to that. I'm still going to. We'll figure it out. Don't mind that it's entirely void between here and there. I mean, sure, this feels safe. The terrain in the end is quite wild. I love how interesting it looks, and I'm sure it'll feel pretty cool once I get this elytra, but right now I just need my brown pants. Every time I jump over one block, I pray there's another block on the other side. I'm still not sure how far away this thing is, so I'm going to mine some endstone as well. After starting the pillar, I was very glad I did. I only have 1 pearl left, and I did run out of netherrack while pillaring. I do have a few oak logs, but wow, this is high. Okay, so the ship ended up being around Y190, or about 130 blocks above where I started in the end. Normally I'd just bridge over, but let's take this guy out first. There's only one place to go other than the ship, and honestly I don't want to go there. Unfortunately for this poor shulker, Terralith does not upgrade end ship defenses, at least not on this one. Bye-bye. And wings. You know what time it is. Check this out. Some sort of corrupted biome with glowstone plants. It's pretty nice. It's updated without being way too over-updated. The elevation changes in the end are pretty awesome. Even the normal end biomes look really nice with the varied terrain. I'm not gonna lie, this Terralith end is really nice. All the islands at different heights, the floating end cities, the crazy Y-level ships that are super high or super low. This ship's deck up here was at Y208. And look at the curve on this island below here. This looks super good. This is what an end update should feel like, I think. This city was in a very grayscale biome, and I got a new advancement for it, Desolation. That makes sense. It honestly feels like a very different game when I end right here, even though cities are exactly as they are in vanilla. And in checking the map out, I really think we need to go see this one. Whoa, is that a ribcage fossil below me? That's huge. Oh, wow. Dang, that is beautiful. Holy, hold up, do you see this one? Oh, we need to go see this. Okay, that is easily the most beautiful end city I've ever seen. Like it's not close. Okay, some of this outer end is incredible. I'm genuinely blown away by some of this terrain. Like this area here with the amethyst and obsidian and the particles falling. This is our way home. I hope you loved the end rating as much as I did, and if we have time at the end of the video, I'd love to look around the Nether in the same way. I'm gonna leave the dragon egg here for now and go home. We're free! We have wings, we can fly! This is our home from the friendly skies. Let's take a quick look above the clouds at some of our nearby area for the very first time. As we fly around, just remember this is all done with vanilla blocks. I know I keep making that point, but I think it's an important point to remember. Terralith is just awesome. The next task was to sort through the end rating items and make sure our gear was looking good. Our main goal for the remainder of the 24 hours is to build a home. I'm going to build a large medieval house I saw on Neatcraft. I'll link the tutorial in the description so you can build it as well if you want. I wanted to build something you could easily make yourself if you end up liking how it looks, and Neatcraft also makes really awesome medieval style builds that fit in this village far better than anything I could do. My plan is to put it over here on the right side of the village next to this brick roof building. And then gathering the materials for a large build when you have almost no farms, almost no infrastructure is definitely a challenge, one that's going to push us close to the 24 hours to finish such a detailed house. Let's clear the area first. Resource collecting at this stage basically meant go get some of everything. Spruce trees, dark oak, stone, calcite. One tactic I exploited in my hardcore series that came in handy again here was the multitasking or task overlap. I was growing spruce and dark oak trees while AFKing for gunpowder as my rockets were quickly running out from all the running around I've been doing. Chop, replant, back to the AFK, and repeat that cycle until we almost got all the wood we need for the build. At this point I'm near day 75 and very unsure if I'll have time to finish the build in 24 hours. I'm not going over that, so we'll get as far as we can either way. Some of the local villages were extremely helpful in getting rare vanilla resources that you just don't see, like these dark oak fences that are very common in the desert builds, as well as the banners, campfires, and workstations that you saw me pick up earlier. I've gathered most, but not all of the resources for the build, and we're nearly 75% or 18 hours into the challenge. I still need oak, more spruce, more dark oak, and unfortunately more rockets as we're quite low. I spent way too long looking for diorite, both mining and searching for it in the overworld, and tons of time shearing sheep for all the wool that I needed. This is where it's gonna go, so let's build a house. We are now 98% through the day, or over 23.5 hours into our Terralith adventure. That's about as far as I can possibly get. We finished the outer structure, got almost all the interiors done, and completed almost the entire build, so let's look at it. While this building is a bit larger than the rest of the town, that's kind of what I wanted. I want to leave my mark with this home. Let's check it out inside, and okay, don't ask me how many times I tried to turn this moss into a path block. Inside the house is pretty cool. There's a ton of storage everywhere, plants, paintings, multiple bedrooms, and functional spaces. There's a little office with these orangey red curtains, and there's a full enchanting setup, tower with the attic storage, and a huge master bedroom. I should make the bed orange though. I'm really happy I got the house completed, and we have a few minutes left in our 24-hour playthrough, so I had an idea for something we could do. We may only have 16 rockets left, but surely that's plenty, right? I'm gonna fly through the Nether for almost the entire time we have left, but listen, if you enjoyed this 100 days, 24-hour playthrough, make sure you do actually like, subscribe, and do all the good stuff so the video spreads to other people. Comment to tell me what you'd like to see next if we continue this world. Would you rather I play another 100 days in this Terralith world and we can see more of the craziness, including the toxic heap? Maybe 100 days in a bedrock world as a Java player? Or should we play something else? Let's try and stay alive, kill gas for gunpowder, craft rockets mid-flight, and see if I can show off a bit more of the Nether than just the quartz flats. Even with an elytra, this Nether is still crazy. Okay, that was fun, but let's see what else is here. Alright, let's peek into this illager refuge. This structure is huge. I definitely don't have time to check this all out today, but if you want me to, I could do that next time. There's just way too much to look at to even really dig too far into this. I think Terralith is a much more challenging yet vanilla Minecraft adventure. I'd love to see some serious hardcore players try their hand at building a world in Terralith, building their best builds and using the new terrain and biomes to create some absolutely wild stuff that vanilla Minecraft can only currently dream about. And if you find vanilla Minecraft too easy, even on hardcore, I guarantee Terralith will challenge you far more than you can imagine. There's so much more to do in this world, but it's up to you if it continues. I can't wait to see what you thought of this playthrough. Thanks for watching everyone, but it's been 24 hours now, so goodbye. I'm just gonna hear the sound of gas screams in my dreams tonight, right?